Looks like I'm live. All right. As usual, let's give people a couple minutes to get in here. I'm a little rusty at this, to be honest with you. This is a whole new setup. First time I'm using it to do a live broadcast. I'll get into that. We can talk about that. And now the email went out that I'm live on YouTube, so that's also good. It's been what, since May? It's been a while. I'm realizing as I sit here that as much as I am set up for recording for YouTube, I'm not so well set up for going live in this setup. So, gonna have to tweak that, I think, going into future weeks. There's only one monitor here. I'm looking to the side instead of looking into the camera. I suppose I could put the camera up there, but then you'd get more of what's in that area, and that's still messy, still cleaning, still getting ready. All right, let's give people a few minutes. See if I can play some music or something. What do we got here? What did I play last time? Make sure my computer's muted. All right, hopefully that's not too loud. Give you something to listen to. Got YouTube looking good. Should double check on X that that's all looking good. I guess the music paused. It's weird. Let's try that again. Not sure how I can see chats from X, but presumably it'll show up my notifications. I got somebody retweeting me who is clearly a spam bot or, marketer trying to sell you something. I don't know. Hey, good evening, Mark, from the UK. It was scheduled. I scheduled this one, and I scheduled it a little bit in advance as well. Should have paid closer attention to your notifications. And over on X, I've got the live chat up and running here. So I've got this is Tyler Hendricks. He says, "Hey, dude." Hey, Tyler, over on X. Oh, we got a good number over on X. Look at that. Better engagement on live on X than on YouTube. Who would have thought? What of the day? Look at the time. That's a little crazy. Um, all right. So yeah, let's get started a little bit. As I rambled in the pre-show a little bit here, new studio, new setup. I only have one monitor, so I'm not really set up well for live broadcasting. I realized this the other day when I did the UI chat podcast with my friends Evan and Alex. That's on my feed and on YouTube. You can go and check that out if you missed it. It's all about all things Ubiquiti. It's a great show. And it occurred to me that the angle that I was filming from, which is here, still has like it doesn't look as cool and as polished as the backdrop behind me here, which is what I want to be showing and going with and whatnot. And so I think I need to reposition the monitor. I'm going to like move it completely over to the other side of the desk in front of me as opposed to off to the side. And then I need to figure out a way, maybe a long mounting arm or something where I can also swing it back around because when I am filming videos, I do want to be able to show things on the monitor, such as comparing what footage looks like, side by side comparisons, or talking about features, or showing other videos that I mean later. I usually in editing put them up on the screen, but especially if I'm doing live, it'd be nice to just pull the monitor. I'm not gonna do it right now because I'll mess everything up, but to pull the monitor over to the side here, I think would be really, really nice. I'm also using for the first time the new Elgato Cam 4K. It's the Face Cam 4K, and I got to say the image on this is fantastic. They did send this over to me for free, along with a whole host of other things. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But so far, I'm very happy with it, and I was not paid to say that, but I did get the stuff for free. So there's your top of the show disclosure there. I am doing a whole video on the stuff they sent me, kind of overhauling my desk. And then when I'm done with that video, I think I'm going to reposition some of that stuff and do another video on how to set it up for more of a studio setup instead of a live streaming desk setup. And that'll be able to show off the two different ways that you can do it. And so they sent me the prompter and they sent me the lights. The light I'm using is also the Elgato Streamlight, I think it's called. So I got two of those and I got a whole bunch of stuff. So I think when I'm done with the desk video and I'm pointing over there because my desk is over there, which I'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to move all of that over here, and then I'll have a light from both sides, and then I can start really dialing in and tweaking the settings. I also have a new camera, the Canon um, R50V. So that's new from Canon, and it's made for video and streaming and all that, but it has it's a real, I mean, it's not a DSLR, fine, but it has real glass on it. And essentially, I'm hoping that that is going to give me that nice, really nice depth perception effect, not do it virtually, and kind of really show the detail of the background behind me. And so all that is getting set up. I've been working on this for probably 6 months now, which is another reason why some of my content has been slow. Summer has been crazy, and redoing the studio has kind of taken the slow lane or the back seat in order to help with everything else. I had some nanny issues, so I was not able to spend as much time in the studio as I would have liked in the last several months. And so I apologize again for the delay here, but it is all coming together. School is in session, the kids are back in school, which means routine is back, and life is getting back to a semblance of normal. And basically, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of things coming. I have a lot of Ubiquity videos that I have to catch up on because I missed a bunch of those, such as the G6 Dome, which I have here in front of me, or the new what is this the Pro G6 Pro that just got announced. So I have to do a video on that. I already did my video on the Superlink sensors, which I'm showing all of these things on the screen for the podcast listeners. And I've got all the toys. I just have to make videos about all of them and play with all of them. I did the Superlink videos, but anyways, back to the bit about the studio. Essentially what I did is I took what was my studio before, which was a 10 by 10, 10 foot by 10 foot space, and it was a multi-use space, right? So I had my desk where that was, has my monitors on it, and it was always cluttered, and it's still cluttered, but I'm working on that. It's a daily struggle. But part of the reason it was always so cluttered is because I would then transform that into an editing setup. And I had another rolling table that I would roll out in front of it, and that's the wooden desk that I used to talk in front of in my videos. And I was constantly setting things up and tearing things down, and it took forever. And so now I am in a double the size space, so it's 10 feet wide. It's actually probably 11 or maybe even 12 feet wide, all the way to the wall over there, and it's 20 feet long. And so I have a dedicated space here for making videos, and I have a dedicated desk space over there, and then I've got these white cabinets, which you can't actually see over there, are all storage. So I'm going to be filling those up and redoing all of that. And then I've got this awesome background where I can have, different knickknacks and swap through the collections of stuff that I have and different figurines and products and cool things. And then also I moved the rack over here, which is a little bit messy because I'm testing things. Okay. It's allowed to be a little bit messy when you're constantly testing things. And since they keep sending me all of these wonderful things, I'm going to keep playing around and testing with them. So yeah, so that's the rack over there, and then I've got these are the nano leaf lights over here. Right now, they're a darker blue. I got to figure out maybe with the new camera to be able to have that blue come through a little bit better. It's darker in person and on camera for when I'm videoing, but when I'm doing live, it comes through as a little bit more washed out. But it does give that cool blue effect in the background there, and then I can obviously change the colors in the app. So that's some pretty cool stuff there. And the setup that I have here at the desk, and to get to the comments, Tyler says struggling on a studio and office setup is so hard. He struggles monthly. It is. It's really tough, and I've redesigned this space probably 100 times, and I'm probably going to continue redesigning it 100 times until I'm done. And then by the time I'm done, I'll probably move or something because that's just how life goes. Other things we got going on in the setup here is this is the Ubiquiti XG switch, which my microphone is blocking, but you can see that. So it's got the 8 port with all the PoE plus power, and that's powering my internet as well as any of the cameras that I plug in for testing. And then I have the new M4, I think, Mac Mini, and a Dell 4K monitor, of course. And the desk I did a whole video on as well is a motorized sit stand desk, so I can push the buttons and it changes height, so I can do a video filming. I can film a video while standing or sitting. I do like to sit for a lot of them, but some of them are just better, moving around the room, especially with all the things going on. And so this is from Flexi Spot that was sponsored. They did send that over, but I'm really appreciative because now it's a very core piece of my setup. And you can see some of the storage stuff that I haven't put away yet behind me on the floor of other things that Ubiquiti has sent. I actually bought these things because I'm doing a big project for my synagogue for as a nonprofit, and trying to clean up their whole setup and um, improve the infrastructure over there because it's important to give back and so on. So all right, what else is going on? It's been a crazy summer, as I mentioned before. I'm really glad that it's over, and I'm glad that we can get back to doing, normal things. In the next couple of weeks, we have a bunch of different things coming up. It started Techtober, or Techtember rather, September, that is all full of tech announcements. And that started really a little bit before with the Google event, which was an interesting event. And I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on that because it was polarizing. Google did an event announcing their new Pixel 10 family lineup of phones. I did order the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, and I will tell you why in a second. The phones look great. They are really solid. They have a lot of upgrades, specifically focusing on AI, of course. The new Tensor G5 chip is in there, and the early numbers coming off the chip are not wonderful. But the interesting thing here is that they really boosted the TPU inside, I believe it's called, the basically the AI processor to be able to handle more AI tasks. And so I think they gave it a lot of headroom in that area to be able to continue to drive compute for AI tasks as Gemini becomes more and more powerful on the phone itself. That being said, the event was very interesting. It was hosted by Jimmy Fallon, and it was done in a Tonight Show style event. So a little bit of cringe there, a little bit of not quite for the techie crowd that usually goes to those types of events and wants to know about specs and how does the camera look and all these different things. That was based more on kind of teaching people about Pixel phones and really going for a broader audience. And so what they did there is they spent a lot of time focusing on the experience, focusing on features that people may not know the Pixel phones have. AI obviously was a big part of it. They also took a lot of digs at Apple, and most of it was very heavily scripted, but some of it went off script a little bit. And it's really interesting to see Google is taking the gloves off a little bit because they finally have, a device that is beating Apple at what Apple is best at, which is the iPhone. And so, um, good on Google trying to get a broader audience. The numbers don't lie. The folks that watch that, the numbers are up from like maybe a million watched last year's event to 6 or 7 million. I think it's even above that now, who watched this event. And so obviously it's getting a lot more views, a lot more talked about. Hopefully it's not everybody just making fun of it because um, it would be nice if we had more people using these awesome phones. And I think that, the more Google sees people buying their phones, obviously, the more interest they're going to have in continuing this lineup. And I like a world in which Google makes phones and hardware and is more of a hardware company as opposed to just a software company. And part of the reason for that is because it is better, in my opinion, when you control the whole stack. That's part of what makes Apple so powerful, is the fact that they have the hardware and the software and now even the chips and even more chips, and they're developing and including their own modem. um, and so once you have that capability, you're able to more tightly integrate things, get better battery life on things, have better performance in things. Um, and it's nice to see Google going that route. Now, why did I order the Pixel 10 Pro Fold? Well, I have the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I absolutely love it. It's not my daily driver though. I'm still using the iPhone. I'm still going to get the new iPhone 26 or 17 Pro, whatever the hell they're going to call it when it comes out, the largest and biggest one. Um, because iPhone just works for me. I'm in the Apple ecosystem. Yes, that argument is there. It is a real thing. Google and Microsoft have been adding things to Android to combat that and have done a very good job and continue to do so. Um, but I'm not moving away from a Mac as my primary computer. Sorry, Chrome OS. I love you dearly, but that's not happening. And Windows, yeah, that ship has sailed for me. Mac just works better with my workflow, with my the way my brain works, and I'm using Final Cut Pro at the moment, which isn't even available um, on Chrome OS or on Windows. So I can't even do my editing workflow currently on anything but a Mac. Yes, I know I want to move to Resolve to DaVinci. I will. Um, that would be an element of getting me off Mac, but it also works really well on Mac. So I don't think that's going to happen. Also, they're just so far ahead in processing and capabilities at this point. I love it. So this wasn't supposed to be an Apple rant on how much I love Apple stuff, but sorry, Google, that's sticking around for a bit. So I've got the Mini here. I've got my MacBook Pro, which is the what is it, the M3, and it's still rocking strong. M3 Max, I think. Um, but back to the Pixels, the reason why I want to upgrade is because, and I use this mainly as a productivity device, as a test device, sometimes as a tablet because it is a foldable, it opens, and I love the tiny form factor of it, where you can get almost a tablet size, but in your pocket. And so, if I want to have that capability, but I don't want to bring a whole laptop or iPad Pro or whatever, I will grab that, and it's nice to have those choices. And obviously, that's a privileged approach, and if I was not in the iPhone ecosystem, I would be using it as my daily driver every single day. As it is, I do use it several times a week at my desk and on the go and so on. I also use it as part of my filming setup. So if I need something for notes, I'll just pull that out instead of having to pull up another laptop or something like that. Um, I do spend a lot of time on mobile. I have a bunch of kids, and so you're always on the go, always running around. And the thing that I'm excited about for the new device is better waterproofing. It's a more rugged device. It's better to keep out sand and water, and that is very important because I have been terrified to take the Pixel Pro Fold 9 Pro Fold anywhere where it could get either sand or dirt or wet because of that. And yeah, sure, I have a case on it, had a case on it. I take it on, I take it off, it depends. But I think that's a pretty important sticking point there. Um, yeah, so I did buy that so that I can get the upgrade on that, and I will be getting, I'll be doing a review video on that, of course. And I actually have to update my video that I did on using the Pixel Fold as a productivity device because just recently, I don't know exactly when this happened, but they updated something in Chrome for Android on the Pixel. I don't have any other devices, so I can't test it on other devices and know if it's any different. Try it out. You can now load Gmail and Docs and Sheets, etc., in the web format in the mobile browser as long as you tell it to go into desktop mode. This has been a frustration I have had forever on Android and on iOS, honestly. It works a lot better on iOS now, but on Android, every single time I wanted to open up Gmail, the web version, because the Gmail apps are not great, and all the Google apps, honestly, Docs, Sheets, Slides, like they're sure optimized for mobile, but they just feel so lightweight and powerless. Like I want to have the powerful features, especially if I'm doing this in a way that I have a keyboard and a mouse hooked up to it, and also virtual reality glasses. So I have the X Real One Pros, and I use those whenever I'm on the go and want more of a setup. But again, don't want to bring my whole laptop. Um, I can turn those on, and then I have the whole screen in front of me. Sorry, I have the whole screen in front of me in space, and nobody can see what I am working on, which is wonderful, great for privacy, especially when you're dealing with embargoed videos. Um, but the only way I could get a near close to laptop or desktop experience where I could have the desktop version of Gmail and desktop version of Google Docs and so on was either on an iPad or on a proper laptop. And that is no longer the case. Christian Newman asked me to check that the other day when I updated the latest beta. So shout out to him. And I am happy to say that it loads the full web version of Gmail and Google Docs and Sheets. I didn't try Slides, but I guess I should, and it works really well. There are some things that are still a little quirky, and yes, every once in a while, if you like open a text box and then navigate out of it, the keyboard gets stuck open and you have to go back and reset. But for the most part, it works really, really well. And the only thing that I wasn't able to get working was keyboard shortcuts. So I think that's something that still needs to be addressed. But this is a huge step forward. And finally, thank you, Google, for actually taking the handcuffs or the shackles off of the incredible browser that is Android. Sorry, that is Chrome on Android, and allowing us to do that, because that, especially as you move towards apps not being restricted to a small screen, especially as you get future heads up displays or headsets, um, and I forget what responsive design. They had a term for it at IO. I forget what it was though, but essentially where the apps are going to be able to just react and expand infinitely to whatever screen size they are set up for or you want to have them on. And I think that that may be the reason why they unlocked it. So I am very, very grateful that they did it, because that's going to make a huge difference for those who want to use the 9 Pro Fold or other foldables or tablets on the go and have the abilities that you can on the desktop. Even though, yes, sure, the text is tiny, but I think it's worth it. I love having it that way. So that's what I wanted to say about the Google event. Let me just check on the chats over here. Let's get into some of the Ubiquiti stuff over here. UI.com. Let me see if I can share the screen. Oh, I have this tremendously zoomed in because I was doing a recording on this, and it, what do you call it? Oh no, I'm not able to share my screen on here because, um, because permissions, because it's the first time I'm doing this on this computer. Okay, sorry, not going to share my screen then. You'll just have to take my word for it and believe me. But anyway, I was really zoomed in on the Ubiquiti site because I was filming a bit with it. So I'm going to zoom out a bit on that. They've got a whole bunch of stuff that they have announced and released, and I have some of them. So we have the G6 Pro Bullet, which I mentioned before at the top of the episode. I am working on a video of this. Immediately after I'm done streaming, I'm going to go outside and set this up on the test rig. But this is a pretty hefty device. To give you an idea, this is next to it. I'm holding, what is this? This is the G4 Pro. So the G4 Pro versus the G6 Pro Bullet, you can see it's much longer. Even without the mount on there, it's much longer. And it is also, oh, I don't want to scratch the lens. It is also a bit fatter. There's a couple things going on here. You've got the massive 1/1.2 inch 8 megapixel CMOS sensor there, and then 2.36x optical zoom. And you also have the talk down capability. So I'm just going to show that off in the camera lens there. You also have, for the first time ever, a 90-degree mount. And I did confirm on the UI Chat podcast that this mount works, is sold independently as well as works on the other generations of cameras, such as the G4 and the G5, and is a little bit longer than your traditional mounts, and is honestly, I think, a welcome change because I've had times before where it's been very difficult for me to mount something into the exact position that I wanted if I wanted it to be that flexible. The other thing that I noted that they added on here, I'm not sure if this is the first one that has it, but I think it is on the thread, just below the thread. It has this area that hooks into the base, but they added these teeth on both sides. Let's see if I can show that on the camera here. So they added teeth on both sides so that when you connect them together, before you have actually threaded and screwed it in together, it stays exactly where it is. Right, I'll show you what I mean by that is that it locks into place and you can't rotate it. And so that is very, very helpful because also same problem in the past where it'll slide around and it'll be like, I just lost the exact position that I had it in, and now I had to go in and unscrew it and readjust. So this is a nice updated design on that, and I imagine it'll probably become standard, at least on the pro level cameras. I don't know about the entire lineup, but we shall see. Also, similar to other enterprise camera companies, they now include a cute little screwdriver in here, and there is a door on the bottom with two screws on it, and that hosts the micro SD card as well as the um, talk down speaker. So your talk down speaker is blocked behind this door, but it has a kind of a area in the back here. You have a little slot for the sound to come out, and essentially, if I'm not mistaken, I believe in this hole here is where the sound. No, it's coming. It looks like it's coming out of back here. So I'm not entirely sure what that hole is for. Maybe there's a different mounting option for it. Show it off over there. Maybe ask Ubiquiti, because even on the website when it shows off the build of the camera, I'm not seeing them talk about the fact that it has that hole there, other than to say that's where the micro SD card goes. So there's a picture of it on the website, but they don't really say anything about it. So a little curious. They just say that speaker and SD card slot. So I don't know if that's a future design choice, or or what that's about, but that is screwed in behind that door with this nice little screwdriver here, and pretty handy. So I'm gonna have to take this and add this to my networking camera troubleshooting kit, because now I don't want to get stuck without one of these when I need it in order to get into the security screws on here. The other thing that I noticed is, whoops, there goes that little tab. In the back, just like previous generations, you've got the USB-C port on the back for the add-on attachments, such as the, what do they call them? It's not the Vision Pro, it's the Vision Enhancer, or the Enhancer something. I keep forgetting. They changed the name on it at one point, and I got all confused. Where is it? I saw it before. Come on, accessories. No, that's the LPR. What is it called? Somebody in the audience is laughing at me right now for not being able to remember this. Camera enhancers. That's just what they're called. AI enhancer is for the AI Pro. The G5 Pro has a G5 Pro enhancer, and the G4 Bullet has a G4 Bullet IR enhancer. So theoretically, and I haven't tested if it fits on these other mounts, although I really should. I don't think it's going to. It has to be its own model because this is a different. The base that the enhancer wraps around is a different size. So I don't know if it's going to work with the AI enhancer, but I can definitely give that a try. But I imagine because the accessory port is there, that they're going to be coming out with that at some point. So pretty excited about that camera. What other things do I have that I can show you? Is the G6 Dome. This is relatively new to me because I haven't had time to mess around with it. So my early thoughts on this is a beefy camera. Like, this is rugged, this is really solid, and just, I mean, it just really has a very strong feel to it. It's a very strong camera, and I think it's going to be very difficult to do some serious damage to this, especially if you, are in areas where, and I've had this before, where somebody comes up with a baseball bat or a lighter and they try and damage the lens so that you can actually, so that you won't be able to see what's recording. This happened to me at two other locations in like gang areas in LA, and so I am going to do a video talking about that with this camera, but I think that this will do a really solid job at defending against them. Whereas With any of the bullet cameras, for example, they can be knocked out of alignment. That's much harder to do with a just a one solid piece of polycarbonate metal, whatever this is called that they use to put these together. And it also has three different screws on it, and all of the other security settings. And there's new features that are coming or have been rolling out now with the new version of Protect, which is the tamper protection. And so that's actually been working out really, really well. And with that, you can use, for example, the Superlink siren, which I did did a video on already this week, last week, I think. And it's really interesting in the new interface where you have the alarm manager. You're going to be able to say, "Oh, somebody just damaged or took a baseball bat, tampered with my camera. I'm going to have the siren nearby. Set off the siren." Or with the AI horn, which I actually have somewhere over there. It's in one of the boxes, and I have to test that out as well. You're going to be able to set it up so that can play a recording, such as, "Hey, criminal, get out of here. The cops have been called. Stop messing with my camera," or, whatever you want to say. Um, but from the video that I saw of Linus Tech Tips, they played around with it, and that thing is really loud. It is rated at 120 decibels. The siren is rated at 110, and this thing is ear piercingly loud. So I can imagine that somebody's voice broadcasted when played over the AI horn is going to be super, super loud as well. Other things that they've got over here, I have the G6 PTZ that I have been playing around with and testing, and I haven't put out a video on it yet because I need to do the night comparison filming, and I just haven't had time at night, so I apologize for that. But I am very impressed with this camera. They have fixed the pan issue that I had with the PTZ, the G5 PTZ, where it was just so choppy. Essentially, it would pan and then it would wait for the person to walk to the end of the frame, and then it would snap forward and find them again, and then it would wait until they get to the end of the frame and then snap over again. And it made it really hard to track detail or to see facial details, or license plates as well. With this, it's almost cinematic on the G6 PTZ, where it locks the person in the center, it even zooms in, and it just follows them as they go by. And it's honestly what I expected the G5 PTZ to do from the get-go, but it didn't. So I'm going to be putting out a full video on that testing, like I did with the earlier G6 releases that we had, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, where I kind of pit them all up against each other and compare and show you what it sounds like from each one and what it looks like from each one, using only their IR emitters and or lights at night, and then turn off all the other ones. And I'm going to be doing that with this, and then I'm also going to add into that mix the G6 Pro, the G6 Dome, and the G6 Pro Bullet as well, because I have those sitting here and I haven't done those videos either. So stay tuned for that. Pause for a drink. They did not send me the PTZ Industrial or Precision, so oh well. Maybe I'll get them in the future and I can play around with them, but those are likely even better, stronger, cooler, etc. What else do I have to play with that we haven't talked about yet? Um, let's talk about Superlink, because over on Reddit, well, now on Twitter, but on Reddit, there's some folks over at, I think it's Cedia, that was happening right now, and they're showing off a whole bunch of other products. Let me just pull it up on my phone because I have, I think, the screenshots of it there. Where was this? I don't know. I retweeted it, so it's on my profile. But essentially, we have more than just the original siren and the environmental sensor for the rest of the Superlink lineup. All right, sorry, not the rest of the Superlink lineup, but some more of the Superlink lineup. They are showing off all of the cameras, but also where's the sensors? Here we go. We've got the Siren PoE, which is what I have, and then they have a Superlink version of Siren, which connects just to the Superlink gateway and is battery powered. It's not PoE like the one I reviewed is, and I mean, honestly, if that thing lasts for a long time, if the Siren battery on that lasts for a long time, then I don't know why you would need a PoE. I guess the PoE is more redundant in case the Superlink gateway goes down. But other than that, I mean, it seems like that would just be a really smart purchase. Then we've got the environmental sensor, entry sensor, motion sensor, glass break sensor, and an alarm control key fob. So those are pretty straightforward and obvious. The entry sensor is your standard contact sensor, but obviously works with SuperLink. Motion sensor, self-explanatory. Glass break sensor. I can't talk today. I apologize. Um, Also is out there the alarm control key fob. We haven't really seen how that works or what that works with yet because they haven't actually given us the alarm system yet. Although they did show off the alarm. Where's that tweet from this morning? No, it's gone. I don't know. They showed off some of the alarm hardware over at that same conference, and so you can see that it's there, it's real, it's coming. But I don't really have much more in the way of details on that. What I did see is the doorbells, and I did a reaction video on Ubiquiti's video talking about the doorbells. Um, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But the short and sweet version of it is these look awesome. I can't wait to get them in house and start testing them out. I am about to get a new front door to my house, as I mentioned in the video. And so I was like, oh, I can move my Ubiquiti G4 Pro that I have there. I'll convert it to PoE because right now it's on Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi signal over there isn't so wonderful. And so I was like, hey, let me convert this to a PoE version and or the PoE kit rather, and I will be able to um, have it set up with PoE and be more rugged that way, or more reliable. And then I saw this drop, and I was like, okay, new plan. So I am definitely going to be going for the new doorbell that's on there, and they are already listed on the website. I see Sammy has joined the chat. Welcome, Sammy. Hope all is well. And let's see here. Where are the doorbells? Did they categorize them in access because they're both access and protect? The G6 entry. Interesting. Yeah, they did. So this is technically under readers because they are card readers, but they're doorbells. So again, these doorbells are positioned to be more um shall we say professional, more enterprise level, not usually supposed to be put on a house, but I'm going to put it on a house anyway because I'm that kind of crazy and I'm sure many of you are as well. It's got a screen, it's got the button, of course, it's got a big dome camera on top with a 1 over 1.6 inch 12 megapixel sensor on there, so that's really nice. It is an LED light, and it has the camera down below for packages, which is also super, super awesome, and an additional LED light down below so that it can illuminate said packages if you need. So, very excited for that. And then there's the pro version, and then the standard version gets rid of the screen. And what else does it get rid of? Not really sure. Still has the access reader, still has the downward facing camera. Gets rid of, oh, it has only a 2K sensor instead of a 4K sensor. The IR, oh, IR is gone on the standard. Interesting. No IR LEDs on the standard. Guess I should have gone over this in my video. Sorry about that. No touchscreen, obviously. Oh, I'm a liar. IR is moved down. It's 5 meters, 16 feet, which is the same. So there is still IR on the standard. Just in the image, just not on the image, but on the doorbell itself, they apparently moved it down below the reader, below the touchscreen. But it is still a reader. So, and it is the same IP55 weatherproofing. So pretty similar. If you want to save some money and you don't need a screen on there, then go for it. Great. And then also they have the doorbell light, which is basically looks like a normal doorbell from all over the world, but it has a little camera on it. So I really like that add-on, and I think that's actually going to sell like hotcakes because it's $100. Um, I'm not seeing it on the site, but when I search for doorbell light, it shows up. Shipping in October. So this has a IR light on it. It's a 2K sensor, has a microphone, and a doorbell button. That's basically it. It's also actually it's IPX5 weather rated, so that's even better. So if you have more of an industrial environment, then this may be for you. Or if you live in a place with crappy weather, then you may want this as opposed to some of the other ones. But honestly, the weatherproofing on those is quite good as well. So so yeah, so that's what they were talking about with those. What else are they showing off over at those shows? Oh, it's the new 180 camera. God, I can't wait for this. This is I mean, it's massive because it's basically two cameras built into one. Um, but for those areas where you have uh, a camera that you want to look both left and right at the same time, in the past you could use the 360, but you have glare issues with that, and 360 doesn't always work for these types of situations. I am actually curious if you're going to be able to view the two cameras independently, or if it stitches it together into one 180 ultra wide image. They're talking about it as a 8K camera. Was it? Where the hell did they go? Camera security. Let me pull this up. Hard to remember all of these things off the top of my head. So, sorry. Not perfect. Where is it? Jesus. Yeah, here at 180. It's a 16 megapixel 4K, two 4K sensors. So they're calling it 16 megapixel and has a panoramic 180-degree coverage. So it's probably going to be one image across, stitched ultra wide across both of them, and has an accessory port. So that's interesting. I didn't notice that before. Over on the side of it, it has a little door with the SD card slot, reset button, and an accessory port, USB-C, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with that and what accessories are going to plug directly into there. But this is going to be great because I live on a corner and I have at the side of my house. I was using the G5 PTZ for this, and I'm actually going to test the G6 PTZ as well, where I was having it look straight ahead. And then basically, if it detects motion, then it should snap to the side that it detects motion on. Another way that you can use this is with either the motion sensors or with another camera. And I do have another camera on each side, that if motion is detected on one, then it tells the PTZ to snap around and then lock to that area while the motion comes by. And then when it's done, return to home. With the 180, I won't have to do that. So that's going to be really nice for something, a scenario such as that, where you've got an alley or you have a narrow space and you want to be able to get the whole thing and you want to capture it with just one camera. You're going to be able to do that. In the past, you either needed a crazy ultra wide, or you only put it at one end of the alley and you didn't capture detail all the way down at the other end, or you took two bullet cameras together and basically just made your own 180, if you will, looking, oops, sorry, hit the mic, looking both directions, which is definitely doable. And there's actually attachments that they have, or mounts rather, that enables you to do that and makes it really easy. That being said, I think this is going to be much nicer, especially with the image stitched together. So, very much looking forward to that. And then I also want to try out the Pro 360 because um, with the 360s that I have now, sometimes it can be a little fuzzy zooming in, especially if you are in a low lighting scenario or in IR lighting at night and it's a larger room and you're trying to use it to cover a larger space. It does kind of, the quality falls off as you start to zoom in pretty quickly. And so I think that that's one of the things that this is going to address. It's got that new massive 1/1.6 inch 12 megapixel sensor. And of course, all of these have the multi-tops AI engine on them as well. And if the build quality of the G6 Dome is anything to go off of, this 360 camera is going to be probably nearly indestructible because it is IK10 rated, which means it's super sealed. Um, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Let me just check the see if we have any other chats over in the chat, folks. Oh no, I closed it on X. Sorry about that. I mean, it's still streaming, but I closed it on my phone, so I'm not seeing any of the chats that are in there. Oh, and they disappeared. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm rusty. Sorry, it's been a while. Um, what can we talk about other than all of the Ubiquiti stuff? I have been doing some interesting new testing of speaking of 360 degree cameras. I got into it with the Insta360 X5. I ended up returning it because I got very frustrated with the video that I was getting out of it is enormous. So it is very difficult to film with, and B, it didn't really grasp the whole concept of 3D footage or filming with 3D, because part of the concept of this is that you shoot now and don't worry about framing. You frame it later. Now, normally when you've got, your phone and you're videoing, you're sideways, usually if you want to do landscape, what's in front of you is your frame. What you're looking at, that's what you're filming. With 360, it's filming front, back, sides, up, down, everywhere, all around. And when you're editing it, you can say, all right, great. Now I want to go over here and I want to continue from this angle, and then you can cut it and say, all right, now go over here and continue this angle, which in theory is great. because then you're able to get everything all around, and you will get shots that you wouldn't have gotten if you're only pointing at one angle. The problem with it is that it's a pain in the butt to edit because you have to, every time it moves, if you want to change the angle and the person didn't move where the front of that camera is or the angle of that camera is to follow the action, now you have to in post go and drag things around to be able to get onto that new area. And yes, in both Insta360 and DJI, which I'll get to in a second, you do have the ability to lock onto the subject and do this smart tracking. But if it doesn't work, or it's not as smart as I want it to be, or I want to snap on somebody else, that's a very cumbersome process as opposed to, I know I'm filming forward. If it's over there, I'm not going to get it. So if I want to see it over there, I'm going to turn. I know I got it. Also, the only way to edit these, as far as I've found, correct me if I'm wrong, please, the only way to edit these is in their own company's proprietary apps. So if you have Insta360, you have to use Insta360's app. If you have DJI, you have to use DJI's app. That's not great. If I want to just grab some footage real quick, throw it into my editing software, which I'm very good at, move through my workflow, which I'm pretty quick at, I can't do that. First, I got to go into their software, figure out all the framing, then I got to export it, which is a whole nother mess. And then once it's exported into what would normally be, a regular 16:9 widescreen video, then I dump that into Final Cut Pro and I do my editing process. And theoretically, it's already edited a little bit, but because it's so cumbersome and their tools are not as strong or as well built out as professional editors, you don't want to do it in those tools, in that software. You want to do it in the professional tool that you are normally used to using. And so therefore you end up editing and then editing and then editing again just in order to be able to get that shot. Now, in scenarios where you just want to get everything because you're flying a drone through motocross, or you are have it attached to a motorcycle and you're doing jumps at a stunt arena, or you are on a boat, or you're moving fast, speed biking, speed boating, whatever, sure, you don't want to worry about framing at that point, and I get that. But for a lot of the scenarios, maybe 360 isn't so great to always work in all the time. So DJI, and the reason why I got back into this is because, and I love DJI cameras. I use DJI Pocket 3 as my primary to film pretty much all of my content until I'm ready to switch over to the Canon. But the DJI is still going to be my run and gun. It's still going to be a lot of what I use for anything where I want stability because it has the gimbal built in and the sensor is just phenomenal. It's fantastic. I love it. So I also have the DJI Action cams. I have the Action 4, I think. I didn't get the 5 yet because I heard the 360 was coming. So I was like, all right, I'll give that a try. We'll give that a chance and we'll see how they are at the 360 side of things and what that camera will be able to do. And yes, before I get flamed in the comments, you can record with just the single lens and you can zoom in so that it's like a normal, you're just filming widescreen as if you were on your phone. And then, yes, you can film it that way. And it will produce a video that, when done, you can just dump into your video editor. The problem is, it's still a domed lens and you still have some artifacts from that, which means that in order to get rid of some of those artifacts, in order to, you have the software that does the dewarping, or if you're just filming with the front lens, you can zoom in to get rid of some of that effect. But then you're zooming in on a 4K sensor, so you're losing quality. And that's more processing that I have to do after the fact that I don't want to have to do, right? If I'm just shooting quickly, I got to make these videos fast. Don't always get the product so quickly. I want to get a video out really, 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 really speedily. Um, I don't want to add extra steps to the workflow. Editing takes long enough as it is. And so that's my rant on 360-degree cameras. So I got the DJI Osmo 360, and it's a phenomenal camera. The X5 from Insta360 is also a great camera. The DJI one I like more because obviously I'm in the DJI ecosystem. I have their microphones, and it automatically pairs with the camera, which is wonderful. It's great. I love it. I've been testing it for a couple weeks, and my video is probably going to take another 2 weeks. And the reason for it is because I filmed it in the pool and going down water slides and at the beach and on my electric scooter driving around town. And I got a whole bunch of good content, but it wasn't really like I was trying to frame it and figure out, similar to what I'm talking through right now with all of you. But then, um, before I got to the point where I sat down to actually talk about my review, my mother-in-law is in town and she goes, "I want to go to Disneyland." And I was like, "Aha. Now there's a good place to test a camera." So I'm going to be going to Disneyland with the new 360-degree camera. And no, I'm not taking two cameras to do side by side. All right, maybe I'll take the action camera and do side by side. I see. I can't help myself. But I am going to be testing it in different scenarios at Disneyland, and so that's going to take a little bit longer to get out because a 360 video is a pain in the butt to edit and work with because it's so massive, and B because I'm going to take it to Disneyland and I want to get that footage. That being said, I think I've already used something like 500 gigabytes of storage just on test footage from these three, just from the one camera, not even both. I probably have an equivalent number for the Insta 360 as well. And thank God I've got the UNAS Pro over here. Yeah, UNAS Pro. I think that's what it's called. Um, that I have a whole mess load of terabytes of storage that I can offload to because otherwise I would not be able to do these at all because they're just so massive. The files are huge. To give you an idea as a comparison, my usual videos are like 20, 30 gig tops. Um, eh, yeah, including all of the assets and everything that I put into them. So that's what I've been working on with 360-degree cameras, and I've got that coming as well. There was a whole lot of highlights and stuff that happened over the summer from like AI everything exploding and taking off, continuing. And a lot of really big investments in nuclear, which I'm pretty excited about because, surprise, we need data centers to run all of this stuff. And surprise, data centers take up an enormous amount of energy. And the only way that you're really going to get that much energy is going to be from um, nuclear. So, really interesting news that happened over the summer. I think for me personally is the amount of investment that has been going into nuclear and building that out. What other videos do I have that I'm working on here? I've got a couple of Starlink videos coming up. I'm going to do a Starlink comparison, small, medium, large. You've got the mini, you've got the standard, and now you have the high performance. So I have all three of those, and I'm going to show them off and compare them. Starlink has a new standby mode, which is $5 a month. Instead of being able to pause your service, which you used to be able to do, you are now required to pay $5 a month, which gives you essentially unlimited emergency data. It's a small amount, it's probably slower, but you are able to just plow through and if you're out in the woods, it's enough to get text messages or WhatsApp messages or whatever your protocol is that you prefer. And use light amounts of data just as an emergency. And that's also true if you have it hooked up to your rack or whatever at home and you want to just have like, emergency trickle data, you're still going to be able to do that with the Starlink. And until you turn it on, then you'll immediately get the full speed and full price of that data. So I'm going to be comparing all of those, breaking them all down. I have a video installing the standard that I have to come out with. I also have a really cool battery for Starlink for the mini in particular. It's called the Peak Do Starlink battery, and it actually slots directly into the bottom of the mini. And I'll get to that question in a second, Pixel. Um, the It slots into the bottom of the Starlink Mini, and it's a battery, so it's USB-C powered, and it slots directly into the Mini and makes it really easy to use your Mini on the go without having any extra battery. In my video where I tested the Mini, which got over 1 million views on YouTube so far, I was using the Anchor battery packs in order to power it, which is still a great option. But if you want to have something that's dedicated for the Starlink and fits in really well with it, I think I'm going to be recommending this. And I'm doing a video putting that together into an emergency bug out kit for communications. So I'll have an old phone in there, as well as solar panels, as well as the battery and the Starlink, and it'll all fit into like a Pelican case. So that's a really cool concept that I've been working on. Pixel asks, have you used the X-Real Aura? Samsung Muhan is still not out, and we really haven't seen anything since. There is no hype. X-Real 1 Pro remains simple, but best in category. Yes and no. So I have not used Xreal Aura, not officially. I did do a video talking with Ralph from Xreal about the Aura and how it's being positioned and what it's likely going to be doing. He didn't give a whole lot of details because they're not allowed to yet. Google is being pretty uncharacteristically tight around information for their plans with Android XR. There's two different major variations of Android XR. One is going to be the Samsung Muhan and Xreal Aura variant, where it is a full screen and you have the Android XR experience on the screen in front of you. So think Apple Vision Pro, think Android in general as an operating system, think the ability to install and run apps and have the experience of a virtual reality headset. Whether or not Xreal is going to enable a see-through capability, transparent electrochromatic dimming, similar to what they have on the One Pro, that remains to be seen. What it's going to look like, how it's going to be positioned, whether or not it's going to have a battery, what the actually is going to have a battery, but it's going to have a puck, a computing puck, which is all Qualcomm chips inside of it, and then Xreal's chip is going to be in the glasses, handling 6DoF, if I remember correctly. That being said, that's very different than that's very different than the Android XR, which Google showed off um, at Google I/O, which is a overlay where the glasses are completely transparent, and or I guess you could have sunglasses variants of them, but I haven't seen that yet. And essentially, you have the little screen on the inside of the glasses, and you look through it. It's an overlay. It's augmented reality, so it's an overlay onto your world, and that's the vision that Google had 10 years ago of being able to walk through lower, Manhattan, wherever, and being given directions on the screen as you are walking, where it's the arrow says, okay, turn left or turn right or whatever, or showing up messages on the screen from somebody when they text you, or something along the lines of that. That's not what Project Aura is going to be. Project Aura is going to be similar to Samsung Muhan. Now, I did have the ability or the experience. I was able to try both Project Muhan and Google's prototype of the transparent pass-through glasses. So I have now tried both variants of Android XR, and I have to say, it is very polished. Oops, I almost just lifted my desk. Um, it's very polished. It's very solid. I'm really excited for it. And I'm going to go freaking broke buying all of these products because I want to test them out and I want to be able to share this information with all of you and make videos about all of it. But at the moment, they're not sending me those things for free. So, Google, hopefully, you're going to send me those devices when they come out for free. Xreal, same. Send them on over. Pixel follows up with asking my opinion on the new Meta glasses. Seems like a tiny step forward because of mono one color display, but there will be no way to pick the AI system. Hold on, take a drink. Okay, so new Meta glasses. There's the current generation of the Meta um, Oakleys and the Meta Ray Bans. I tested both of them. I did a video on that, and I get it. Those form factors are awesome. I love my Ray-Bans. The Oakleys are, in my opinion, ugly as hell. I would never wear those on purpose. I mean, I wore them for while I was testing, but that form factor is not for me. I like the much more professional looking, more normal looking style of glasses, or I want them to be like Under Armour wrap around, not Cyclops look, but around the sides, because I like that it cuts out the light from the sides and from the top. I want to have Meta glasses that are designed, similar to the wraparound ones, like I mentioned, but that's the current iteration of what they have now. What I think Pixel is talking about here is the glasses that they're about to talk about in, I think it's a week or two. They have the Meta Connect conference coming up. They're going to be live streaming it, so I am going to try and watch that as long as my schedule permits, and probably be live tweeting it. So if you are not following me on Twitter, you should be, because that's where I post all of the latest and greatest up to date Twitter reactions and videos of new sizzle reels of things as well. New products. It all goes up on X right away. That being said, the new glasses that Meta is likely going to announce is going to be, I think, closer to having a screen in them, similar to the pass-through version of Android XR. And it looks like, in addition to a puck, they're also going to have some kind of a sensory interface, a wrist cuff or bracelet that goes on that is going to enable you to control those. I don't have a whole lot of information on that. I've heard a lot of rumors, but at this point, that's all they are. And I'm sure that Facebook, or Meta rather, has a million different prototypes that they've been working on this. I am following on X the guy who's I think he's in charge of that division of the new prototypes and whatnot. So I am very, very keeping a very close eye on all of that, because I really like where that's going, and I wanted this back when we had Google Glass. Yes, I was a glass hole back in the day, of course. And the form factor was way ahead of its time and also gave me a headache after wearing it for a month because you're always like looking up over here or winking in order to take pictures, and that just looks weird in public. So let's not bring back that feature. But I love the idea of having an overlay augmented reality on the world. I think it's the next step. The problem for me is I don't wear glasses normally. I wear sunglasses. Sure, I love wearing sunglasses. I have lots of pairs of sunglasses, but I want to be able to have all of this even indoors, and I don't want to have to be wearing glasses all the time. So I don't know. Somebody has to invent contact lenses or some kind of a thing that I put on my ear that just beams it into my eyes, or Neuralink or something. I don't know where we're going to go next on that, but I am very much looking forward to whatever that is. I'm not familiar with Morpheus glasses. Pixel says I want Morpheus glasses. Hard to use X-Real in bed because of the arms. I'm gonna have to look those up. I'm not familiar with the Morpheus glasses. But yeah, I feel your pain about the arms on the sides of the glasses, whether it's in bed or in an environment where that's Morpheus from the Matrix. That Morpheus, not a company name, Morpheus, the actual red pill, blue pill Morpheus. Got it. Yeah, that'd be nice. You know what? Let's have some of the technology from the Matrix. That'd be cool. Let's not go all Matrix though. That's no thanks. Um, but yeah, so it's going to be an interesting year, I think, for virtual and augmented reality, especially as um, it just knows clip on. Where's the tech going to go if it's just a clip on? That'll just fall off my face. I don't want to wear something on my face to have this. I just want it to magically happen. That's how I want that to go down. But anyway, Android XR is like Android, it's designed to be built upon by manufacturers. So yes, Xreal Project Aura is going to be first, but there's going to be a whole mess load of other companies that are making products that are going to utilize the different feature sets and have their own interesting twists and quirks and ideas on how to use the system. And so I think we're going to see a lot of competition in the space. It's going to really heat up and get going. And I am very, very excited for that. All right, what else haven't I talked about? Because this show is now over an hour, and I should probably let you all get back to your Fridays. And I have to go install cameras and review them. So, what else do I have going on? Anything else that I wanted to talk about here? G6 PTZ is coming. Studio build, desk setup, as well as studio setup. Those are coming. Um, Android XR talked about. And yeah, I think that's most of the main things. If you folks in the audience are having questions like this, you can comment on any of my videos. I do look at the comments there. And B, if you want to chat here or hit me up on Twitter or whatever, I'm always happy to take suggestions for videos. And if I have the gear or if I have the ability to get the gear and do a research on it and show it off, let me know. You know, I'll be like your custom YouTuber, I suppose. um, Pixel commented the Samsung Odyssey 3D monitor. Yes, there you go. Except for the problem is that that's still just tethered to the desk. I want it to be full overlay onto the world in front of me all the time, everywhere. And with Gemini, please. To your point about choosing an AI, I don't like Meta's Llama, whatever is powering the glasses. It's meh. It's where Gemini has been, or where the Google Assistant has been for a while. And honestly, Gemini has gotten really, really good. And I do enjoy talking to it or even Grok. I do chat with Grok once in a while. They both have a problem though when you are using your phone in the car and you try and talk with them. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to do that, where if you try and talk to voice mode, and I don't know if OpenAI's does this as well, but if in Gemini or Grok, if you try and talk to it and then it hears its voice over the car speakers, then it just gets distracted and doesn't finish its sentence because it thinks that you're trying to talk over it. And I'm like, no, ignore yourself and answer the damn question. Just have the conversation. Stop listening when you're talking. I don't want you to have, me to be able to interrupt. I'll wait until you're done. I have patience. This is a drive. I'm hanging out. We're asking questions. We're playing with it. Stop getting distracted by the sound of your own voice. So that is a definite frustration that I've had with those. But again, it's early. This is the worst the tech is ever going to be, as I'm a fan of saying. And there's a lot going on, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm gonna drop off here, give you all time back on your Fridays here, and thank you for joining. I think this has been my largest live stream that I've ever done. So I think it was like 30 people all at once across different platforms, and I don't even have LinkedIn working. So I will try and get LinkedIn working next time. I forgot. Sorry that it wasn't working last time I did a live stream like this. It was a while ago. Which Grok? The XAI Grok, that one, Sammy. I don't actually. I'm not familiar with the other Grok. I know that it's an AI company, but that's all I know about them. Anyway, Ubiquiti seems to be heating back up, and the product train is a rolling. As you've seen, all those new products that I don't have yet. So I imagine Ubiquiti is going to be sending those over to me soon, and I will continue doing my best to get those videos out as quickly as possible and answer any questions that you have on in there. Thanks for joining. Have a great weekend, everybody, and hopefully I'll do this weekly now. I'm glad routine is back. I like routine. Back to routine. Have a great weekend. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.